Hey, how are you? I am doing this video as a follow-up to my previous video that I did earlier in the week about that sense of what's outside of us is a reflection on what's going on inside our heads. And I notice it in myself very often that when I am in a moment of turmoil or there's something stressing me out, I sort of let other things go, and I might not follow my disciplines as well as I should. And I know years ago I probably wouldn't follow any of my routine at all. I would just let it completely take over my life. And I've noticed as I've gone forward, the less I allow that to happen, the better I am. The healthier I feel, the better I am able to rebound from that. So I did the whole video about that, and I got some really great responses from a lot of people that have experienced the same thing, right? So they've said that that they know they need to be more disciplined about what's really healthy for them as they're going through whatever this traumatic event may be, small or large. Traumatic not being even something major. It could just be something that's taking us off of our game. We fall a little bit out of balance and we try to bring it back, right? But one person wrote an email to me today, and they talked about if you have a parent that's passing away, if you have a child in turmoil, those are things where you have to let the laundry go, or the little things go. And I completely agree. So I'm not saying that we need to be disciplined to the point of a fault. I'm saying that we need to do our best to maintain the stability in our lives, the little things that keep us healthy as we're going through these things. So don't mistake what I say for meaning that we should focus on all the things we got to do for ourselves on top of whatever somebody else we might need to be doing well over and above. And all of that comes from our priorities too. Like sometimes you're going to look at a priority situation and say, nothing else comes close to this, and I don't have time to do everything else, and I need to focus on this priority. And that is absolutely okay. Knowing that when things shift back to normal, we have to recover from that. I think it's that you're getting that perspective, you're getting that awareness. So you're even making a more educated decision, even if you're not making a conscious decision. Taking that parent passing away situation, if that example, you're not going to be thinking about anything else but your parent passing away, right? Now, you can maybe, if you have the presence of mind, you can do some of the healthy things for yourself that you would want to do. Whether it's the simple things like brushing your teeth, but maybe also, maybe your nightly routine or a quick morning routine. Maybe you may not want to do that at all, but if you have the presence of mind to spend a couple of moments on yourself, you bring your best self into that situation so you can be with your parent in that time. So, it's just a little perspective switch, and it's just a little bit of an awareness, so that even when you say, screw it, no, I have no time for anything else, you can still say, but I know that I'm making a conscious decision. I'm not a victim of my own circumstance. This is how I am choosing to handle this situation. So I thought that, I wanted to make sure we got a little bit into that. The other thing that I've been doing is I listened to, or I watched a Brene Brown video on Netflix. She has a special that just came out recently that I think you might find really, really interesting. She's a vulnerability. I don't know if she says expert. I think she's a vulnerability researcher, and so she goes into the whole sense of being vulnerable, and the problem with a lot of people is armor. Not so much like being vulnerable, is that we throw up armor and it causes a whole lot of miscommunications and situations. So I'm going to throw a link to that Netflix special on in the comments here. I really recommend it. The other thing that just happened to pop up, and probably because she just came out with a special, Dan Harris from ABC, who also did 10% Happier, the book, and he has a podcast now. On his 10% Happier podcast, I interviewed Brene, and the interview I actually think is better than the Netflix presentation. So I'm going to throw up a link to that podcast also. One of the things that she says, and this also came out in the Miracle Morning book that I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but she puts it very well. That the greatest pandemic of our time right now is comfort. And we talked about this, right? We talked about how, hundreds of years ago, people were just struggling to survive. So you had no choice. You had to be healthy, like in shape. You had to fight for your food. You had to work your butt off. And you really didn't have time to sit around and worry about all the minutia or the FOMO things that are going on in the world, where now we're just so sedentary in a lot of ways. Even if you're not physically sedentary, it's almost like our minds are becoming sedentary. And so she calls it the biggest pandemic of our time, comfort. And so we don't want to fall into this chasm of comfort, because that's what happens. That's when we reach the end of our lives and we look back in regret. That's the reason why. Because we were so comfortable, we didn't strive for anything, and we didn't grow, and we didn't change and adapt the way that we were meant to from the beginning of time. So I thought that was a very, very good statement that I'm probably going to use very much going forward. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, we're just sort of, we have to iron out all of the details. But I have a friend of mine that's local here, and she has been using the Define My Day book, the process, for some time now, and she has questions, and she actually suggested that maybe we do a video where I answer her questions on camera. And so we're going to do that. We're working out the details. I'm going to get a scheduled time to do it. She's going to come over to my place here, and we're going to do a live session in the user group here. And she's funny. I think she's relatable. I think that you're really going to like her. I think that she's going to have a lot of the same questions that you do. And we're also going to take questions from you, so that anything you have to say, comments, questions, whatever, you're welcome to jump in and ask in the comments, and we will answer them live for you on the video. So we're going to do it probably one weeknight, maybe even a Friday night. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very casual. There might even be swearing. So, if you have to get your mental bleeper out, get your mental bleeper going, so you don't, so you're prepped right now. I think you're really going to enjoy it. But that's it. So I appreciate your time. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're doing everything you need to in Define My Day. Oh, wait, let me show you something real quick. Talking about life happens. So this is my Define My Day right now. I didn't do it today. Stuff happened last night. I didn't do my routine this morning because last night Lynn was working late. I had a football board meeting. I got home. The dishes were stacked up in the kitchen. I said goodnight to the kids real quick. She was downstairs still working. And then she was beat. She was tired. And so I went and did the dishes. And by the time I got done with that, I went to bed late. I didn't have time to fill any of this in for the next morning. Although my Fridays are fairly well scripted up until about now. So I knew where I needed to be. So I let myself slide. I still worked out. I still meditated. I still had some time with the kids in the morning. I did not define my day. But I am going to be doing it right now for the remainder of my day. And I'm going to hop back on the horse tonight and tomorrow and continue on with it. So even I am not perfect in this. I never will be. And that's, I hope you never expect that I will be. But every day, we do what we got to do and we get just a bit better. Small steps. So have a good weekend. I'll probably pop in one more time this weekend, so I hope to see you there. If I can schedule it ahead of time, I absolutely will. So check it out and have a great time. I'll see you. Bye.